Good morning. The future of India, the young students of our country who will drive our great nation to the next level. At the very outset, a warm and prosperous new year to each one of you. I sincerely thank the Ministry of Human Resources Development and the AICTE for having given me this opportunity of interaction with Gen Next. The fact that India would be amongst one of the youngest nations in the world with the least median age around the year 2020 or so is well known to all of you. Each one of you represent the most precious national asset that we have, and I am today charged up speaking to all of you. I shall be speaking on India First leadership with emphasis on nation first. Ours is a great nation with strong bonds amongst our people, bonds that have been formed over thousands of years and stem from our common cultural heritage. Our democratic values have their roots, and these are our greatest strength. The equality of each citizen, irrespective of his or her caste, creed, religion or gender, is enshrined in our Constitution. Diversity in our nation is our biggest asset. And no matter what you do in the future, every Indian must put nation first. This is the central theme of the message that I have for you today. Our country today stands at the threshold of faster and even more inclusive growth. Winds of change are blowing fast. Drawing strength from our basic value systems and policies, India is developing at a rapid pace. We are amongst the world's 10 largest and fastest growing economies. Today's India is markedly different from the India of my youth. It is marked by increasing economic activity, higher standards of education and innovation, better social growth, greater gender equality, urbanization, and infusion of technology, all of which bring wonderful opportunities and challenges. Please remember that each one of you will play an important role in India's growth from a developing to a developed nation. Irrespective of the professional fields you pursue, the youth of our country hold the power of transformation of our great nation. The future of our nation is therefore in your hands. I know you all aspire for a great future, one that provides us with a clean, healthy, and uncorrupted environment. For this, we must keep our eyes open to witness all the events around us. We are all capable of differentiating right from wrong. Must we allow the wrongs to go unnoticed and the rights not to be rewarded? The answer must come from within you. This hackathon is part of our journey. The event challenges students with several problem statements with the hope that all of you will be able to solve complex problems that face our nation. In order to boost growth and to create equal opportunities for all of us, each one of you would need to abide by the very basic value systems of honesty, equality, justice, hard work, mutual respect, and above all, cooperation. If each one of you does their very best in your respective fields, there is no force in the world which can stop India from achieving her rightful place in the comity of nations. Let me now get to some of the relevant issues that must generate passion in each one of you to succeed. And first amongst this is motivation, because it is only a motivated person who can succeed in life. What then is motivation? It is indeed a state of mind that nudges you to do well, to be an accomplished person, an achiever, to always excel in what you wish to do. What is then the driving force behind motivation? It is success. But remember, success is never permanent. It is a temporary phenomena. I can recall the days when Olympics were first held at Athens in Greece. The winners were awarded with a crown of olive leaves, which were placed as a crown on the head of each winner of an event. After some time, as days passed by, the olive leaves dried and the crown of leaves lost its sheen, not worthy to be placed on the head of a winner. So therefore, every time an achiever had to put in hard work year after year to win that crown of olive leaves. And those who continued to perform and work hard succeeded and earned the crown year after year. Those who were non-performers lost that crown. This also has another message for each one of us, that while you may not succeed initially, there will always be another chance that you will get in the coming years. Therefore, those who do not succeed initially should not lose hope. There is always another attempt that you can make to succeed. And in this, I would like to quote the famous Hindi poet Sri Sohanlal Dwivedi. This is what he had to say: कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती, कोशिश करने वालों की हार नहीं होती, असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो, असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो, क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो, असफलता एक चुनौती है, इसे स्वीकार करो, क्या कमी रह गई देखो और सुधार करो, जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम, जब तक न सफल हो नींद चैन को त्यागो तुम, संघर्ष का मैदान छोड़कर मत भागो तुम. So this is the message that Sri Sohanlal Dwivedi had for those who did not succeed initially, to say that success will come your way if you continue to work hard in the future. Therefore, never be disappointed by failures. In the army, we are told that there are no runners-up in war. So there is no way that you cannot remain motivated to always succeed. But whenever there is a victor, there is also a vanquished. It does not mean that a person who has been vanquished cannot emerge as a winner. It is the effort you put in, because history is replete with examples where the vanquished army has come out ever so strong because of their levels of motivation and hard work, and have trounced the victors through whom they had earlier been defeated. So motivation therefore teaches us to win, and to keep preparing and working hard till we too emerge victorious. Failures do not deter or disappoint motivated people. The other issue about motivation is the ability to become leaders. Who then is a leader? A leader is anyone who leads. How do leaders get recognized? All of us have some strains of leadership within us. In the army, we as officers are fortunate because we are trained to become leaders. But then here again, the leadership that we derive through our training is not permanent, it is only short-lived. Those who earn the respect of the men they command continue to remain as leaders and rise higher. Others fall in the path, having failed to perform as leaders in the rise up in the hierarchy. The qualities of a leader basically are professional competent, the ability to take timely decisions, to share the privations and deprivations of the people we command, ensure that whenever we get success, we share with our command and take responsibility for our failures. Leader is also a person who displays the ability to take risks. I am reminded of an incident which is related to taking some decisions and your ability to then stick to those. After having qualified for the National Defence Academy UPSC examination, we went to the Services Selection Board and my turn came to visit Allahabad. After a 4 to 5 day grueling training schedule and testing schedule that we were put through, the time finally came for the President's interview. We were all lined up and one by one we entered the room of the President, where the fate of all of us was to be decided on whether we were selected to join the National Defence Academy or not. My turn came and I entered the office. There was a brigadier rank officer who sat there to interview me. As a young student like most of you, I was overawed being in that hallowed precincts of his office. After having asked some mundane questions and put me at ease, he asked me about my hobbies. And amongst all, I told him that trekking was something that I was fond of. He then threw a question at me which appeared very simple. He said, if you were to go on a trek which was to last for 4-5 days, what is the most important thing that you would like to carry with you? And I mentioned that it was a matchbox. And then, of course, the discussion evolved around the matchbox, and he asked me why I had particularly selected this item as the most important item to be carried on treks of this nature. And I told him that if I had a matchbox, there is a lot of activities and events that I could do with that. And I also told him when the mankind turned from the primate years and moved on further, the discovery of fire was the best thing that the mankind thought they had accomplished and achieved. And I therefore felt that a matchbox was the most important part of my trekking gear. He tried to convince me to change my decision and told me, why not a knife? Why not a rucksack? Why not a book which you could read at leisure? Well, I listened to everything that he had to say, but finally stuck to my decision, that the decision that I had taken of matchbox being the most important item to be carried on a trek like this was the right thing that I had selected. And maybe whatever went through his mind, I was finally selected to join the National Defence Academy. At hindsight, I felt that the decision that I had made and the fact that I stuck to my decision was possibly one of the reasons that led to my selection. So what I wish to highlight is that you will be faced with decision dilemmas day in and day out. But having once made a decision, you must strongly support your decision and go on ahead with that, because only then would you have set out on a mission to succeed? This is one issue which I wanted to highlight. The other issue which I mentioned is that there must be the ability to take risks to become a leader. Why are risks necessary? Well, you can take a safe path, but if you follow a safe path without taking risks, there are chances of success and there are chances of failure. But should you take some risks, the chances of success may rise, although the chances of failure will always be there. But it does not mean that because there are chances of a failure that you do not take risks. I am reminded of a game that was played in my school, and 5 of us were selected to play that game. Each one of us was told by our class teacher that you have all been given 10,000 rupees. So amongst all, we had 50,000. We had to play the game in such a way that we increased the amount that was finally given to us. 5 of us were made to sit on the table, and all we had was a buzzer in our hands. We could not see what decision the other fellow was to take. There was a question that was written on the blackboard, but it was covered with a white cloth, so we did not know what the question was. The answer to that question had to be answered in monosyllables, that is a Y for a yes and N for a no. In case we answered the question with a Y or a yes, we had to press the buzzer. And that is how the game got along. What was there in this game? If none of us pressed the buzzer, then we lost all the money that was given to us, which means each one of us lost 10,000 rupees and collectively we were down 50,000. If only one of us pressed the buzzer and 4 of us did not, we all lost 10,000 rupees. We all lost 1,000 rupees from the 10,000 that was given to us. So the overall loss was 5,000 rupees. If 2 of us pressed the buzzer, all of us lost 2,000 rupees. That means 2 pressed the buzzer and 3 did not. We all lost 2,000 rupees, the overall losses being 10,000. If 3 of us pressed the buzzer, similarly we lost 3,000 each, and the losses were 15,000. So at the end of it, we were left with 15,000 rupees. If 4 of us pressed the buzzer and 1 did not, we doubled the money, which means all of us got 10,000 rupees, and the end of it, collectively our 50,000 became 1 lakh. But if all 5 pressed the buzzer, we again lost all the money which we had. Which means if you either did not press the buzzer, or if all 5 pressed the buzzer, we were broke. We had lost all the money. But if 1, 2 or 3 pressed the buzzer, there was some money left with you. But the chance of success lay in only 4 people pressing the buzzer and 1 not. So now there was a decision dilemma as to who all should press the buzzer and what do we do. Do we take the risk in pressing the buzzer in the hope that one of us would not press the buzzer? So of course the risk had to be taken, and we finally played the game. Let me tell you, we won. Because when 4 of us pressed the buzzer, there was one who took a call and said, let me be the one not pressing the buzzer. But then what if another person had also not pressed the buzzer? We would have lost the game. So the risk taken, this is a very small example that I am telling you about, the risks that you need to take. Here all that you were losing were money. But the risks that we have to take in the defense forces on our decisions that we have to make could cost lives. And therefore, we do take risks after studying the pros and cons, but let me dare tell you that without taking risks, you will not succeed. Another issue which I think you need to understand is the role being played by social media in our lives. All of us are now with laptops and computers where we are communicating with each other, communicating within our society, communicating outside our society, and the world today is networked and connected to each other. Through the social media, you will get messages, some positive, some negative. Through the connectivity that you have, you could either spread positivity or you could create negativity. Therefore, be very careful in what you do. Select your messages that you wish to spread very carefully so as to bring about positivity and always avoiding negativity. This is becoming more and more important as social media is gaining ground day after day, and more of you are getting connected to each other through the media. Remember, the message that you will spread, that you will send to the others, is the message that you will be sending to the youth of our country, the future of India. Do not ever therefore spread messages with a negative content. And finally, students, my best wishes to each one of you. Think big and aim high, and you will achieve what you wish to aim. Hard work will get you where you wish to go. And remember, there is a God who keeps account of all your doings and activities. Some of us also believe in luck. But remember, luck favors those who work hard and have faith in God. Therefore, make the best of the 24 hours in the day that you have. Time will not stretch, nor will wasted time ever come back to you, because the clock will continue to tick. No matter how hard you try to regain on lost time, you have this life to live. Live it up, enjoy, work hard, and be prepared to get success in all your future endeavors. Jai Hind and Dhanyavad.
During the absorbing and motivating talk of Chief of Army Staff, we have been overwhelmed with responses. Since we have the privilege of Army Chief with us, on behalf of all of you, I shall pose certain questions to him. Sir, my first question: what pep talk is given to soldiers to motivate them before they are launched into battle?
Our soldiers are pre-motivated. Motivation is not done just before being launched into battle. There are various measures we have for motivation. However, when a soldier is being launched into battle, he is taught and is informed about the task at hand and what is the purpose of his mission. That is most important. If he understands the mission and is made fully aware of the consequences of his actions, he will take all measures to succeed. The other issue is, each one of us have a regimental flag and a national flag that we are expected to plant at the objective, which is our mission. It is the respect for this flag, or Nishan as we call it, that he is willing to sacrifice his life, motivated to walk that extra mile to achieve success and ensure that the flag is planted where it was intended to be. So it is for the Naam, Namak at Nishan of his unit, of the Indian Army, on the nation, that he sets on his mission, and this is the motivating force that inspires him to work hard and accomplish anything that he set out for.
So next we have, Indian women are well motivated to join the Indian Army. When can we see them participating in frontline combat as part of Indian Armed Forces?
We have a number of women in the Indian Army. Some of them are also operating shoulder to shoulder with their male counterparts in some of the selected combat arms. But as of now, we have ensured that they do not participate in close combat with the adversary or in any action where close combat may be possible. As of now, we are preparing the movement for such roles, and I think the time will come for them to be put into combat roles when the women folk themselves are prepared to face such hardships. I do know that, having made this statement, number of women would say that we are ready to face the hardships for combat. But then we have to also be concerned about the consequences of battle and the consequences that the women folk may have to face when you are face to face with the enemy and when you could be taken as captives.
So next we have, how does one remain motivated after repeated failures?
Well, as I mentioned, I would like to go back to Sri Sohanlal Dwivedi when he said that there will always be failures, but let not failures deter you from success. Even after you have failed, remember, hard work, motivation, and your ability to perform will lead you to success. So never get cowed down by failures. Identify the reasons for your failure, overcome those, and carry on ahead, and you are bound to succeed.
Sir, Indian Army is a well-motivated force. What instruments are used by the Army to teach motivation to their trainees, and how effective are they?
Well, we have number of measures to carry out motivation in the Army. These form an important curriculum for training our recruits, for training our soldiers. In fact, motivation is one aspect which is put across to them at different stages of their training, at different stages of their service career, because each level of leadership necessitates a different level of motivation. And the packages that we have for motivation basically evolve around respect for the motherland, your nation first, your regiment, and your army. And remember that you are always carrying out whatever tasks you do in a collective manner as a team. So you are an effective member of your team, and that the strength of any organization depends on the weakest link. So never be the weak link in that organization. Always try and work hard and forge on ahead to become the stronger member of your team. So whenever we tell the people that you can never be a weak link, because a chain is as strong as the weakest link, try not to be that weakest link. Work hard, try for success, and get out of that weak link syndrome that you may have in your minds.
So the last question, whenever we go to forward areas as civilians, we see smiling and welcoming soldiers. Still, we see newspaper reports about large number of suicides by service personnel. Why is this dichotomy?
Well, most of the cases that we have investigated where suicides have taken place, we have seen it is basically happening because of the pressures of the family on the home front. A soldier who is deployed in the front line has a family that he has to care for back home. Today, with the kind of connectivity that he have, every problem that is faced by the family at home reaches the soldier in near real time. And it is these problems that sometimes get him engrossed, and he is unable to reach out to his family in a timely manner, and this has at times been the cause of suicide. Therefore, we have a very good system to ensure that wherever a soldier's family is, we take care of the family. We are trying to create as much as accommodation where the families can live in reasonable comfort, where the education of the children and their health care can be catered for. So the soldier is not worried, and the problems of the soldier are taken care of by the institution, so that he is left free to carry on with his work on the front line.
Thank you, sir, for inspiring the future generations. We are grateful indeed.
Thank you very much. My best wishes to the students, the future of our nation. Remember, you have to work hard with true honesty, integrity, and you will succeed. The future of this great nation is in your hands, and let us see this nation succeed with you at the helm of affairs. The future generations are looking up to you, and I'm sure you will not let them down. Thank you, and Jai Hind.